Ladies and gentlemen, we got some breaking news as we head into Sunday's game with the Jacksonville Jaguars. The 49ers just made some roster moves, as they always do, the day ahead of a game, based on injuries and whatnot. But big news, actually, 49ers defensive end Drake Jackson, second year defensive end from USC. He is going to the injured reserve list with a knee injury. News just broke out a few minutes ago. 49ers announced with him going to the injured reserve, it opened up an active spot, and Shamar Jean Charles, cornerback, is being promoted or actually signed to the active roster from the practice squad. They're also elevating linebacker Curtis Robinson and wide receiver Willie Snead to the active roster from the practice squad for the week against the Jaguars for Sunday. So kind of big news in terms of roster moves. Usually we don't see this kind of big news on a Saturday before a game. It's just the standard elevations. You usually see Willie Snead or whoever the case is that they need to play in terms of injuries. But today, Drake Jackson goes to the injured reserve. That's what we know so far. We don't know anymore. It is a knee injury. He was a scratch yesterday from practice. I guess he practiced earlier in the week, and then he didn't practice yesterday, and then boom, he was ruled out, and now he's going to the injured reserve list. So kind of shocking for Drake Jackson. Week one, I mean, we were singing his praises, the 3-sack game, and we haven't heard much from him. He hasn't played really up to the expectations that we, all wanted to see out of Drake Jackson in his second year. But big news today. Drake Jackson is going to the injured reserve with a knee injury, ladies and gentlemen. And again, Shamar Jean Charles is replacing him on the roster. He's a cornerback. They did not pull up Darrell Luter and Sam Womack to the active roster today. They're still dealing with their injuries. Hopefully next week, if they could get up to speed. And also Robert Beal was not activated as well. So those are guys that in the future we'll see on the roster, but today, not the case. Willie Snead, Curtis Robinson might be able to get some playing time. Willie Snead is going to maybe play some special teams, and Curtis Robinson could play for Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, who's also injured and questionable for tomorrow's game. So special teams, he might get some work. So jumping gigawatts, says California man. That's exactly what I thought. Jumping gigawatts. Back to the Future reference there. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm about to drive home. Just finished up my shift here at work. Saw the news, and I was like, wow, Drake Jackson? I'm sorry, Drake Jackson. Ooh. I had to do that for you. Crazy, crazy. You know, so far his career has not gone the way we expected. Drake Jackson, man. Whew. Wow. Big news. Big news. Drake Jackson. I don't know. But the good news is, ladies and gentlemen, Chase Young will be replacing Drake Jackson this weekend. So I guess it's not that bad. They got Randy Gregory too. So at the end of the day, the 49ers do have great defensive line depth. So Chase Young making his debut for the 49ers. Randy Gregory, who's been on the roster for a few weeks now, they'll be able to pick up the slack. I mean, really, if you think about it, Drake Jackson hasn't really been on the field productive in the last couple of weeks. So it's not a huge loss. It's just unfortunate for him because he's been dealing with a second year and everybody's expecting him to be this big time player and step up. And, he was a second round pick. They expected a lot out of him, and he has not lived up to those standards. So, yeah, Throwback says Drake Jackson can't stay healthy and hasn't played well. He has not played well. Unfortunate. And, last year the case was he wasn't strong enough, and I feel like that was the case this year. So unfortunate for Drake Jackson. But again, 49ers, they will have Chase Young making his debut tomorrow. So it's kind of an injury that, is it really that significant for the 49ers? Drake Jackson has not really been productive for them outside of week one. The injury to me that's really concerning to keep an eye on is Javon Hargrave. He's dealing with a knee injury that he flared up in practice apparently this week. That's the injury I'm a little concerned about. Hopefully he can play. He is questionable. If Javon Hargrave doesn't play, Javon Kinlaw is going to have to really step up, and some of those other guys in the interior, Arik Armstead also. So we'll see. Hopefully Hargrave could play tomorrow's game against the Jaguars. California man says, Drake another Kinlaw? God, I hope not. You and me both, California man. You and me both. Christine says, we will be okay without him. Absolutely. Again, Drake Jackson hasn't had a huge impact on the team, So it's not like we're going to be like, oh my God, we're going to miss Drake Jackson. It just sucks for him. It really sucks for him and his development. I feel so bad for Drake Jackson, man. Like this guy was supposed to be the guy. Everybody thought he was going to be, oh man, he's going to be the D Ford type guy that we've always wanted. He's got that bend. He's got that Alden Smith. Like the hype was generational when he got drafted from the 49ers last year. And he just hasn't lived up to it. It's unfortunate, you know, high expectations, but he hasn't lived up to his abilities that we thought. So we'll see what happens. You guys have a good rest of your day. I'm about to head home. We'll talk about it a little later when I get home. But you guys have a good rest of your day. Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans. Thank you for all your work. And actually, happy Diwali to all my fellow Indians out there. Happy Diwali. Happy Veterans Day. I love y'all. Take care. Go Niners.